Hey guys, welcome to J4U Studios. We are back with another episode of the J4U podcast. So let's jump on in here.
Yeah, just put on.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah, we're talking about Motherfinger.
We were talking while you def in Discord. We were talking about like Despicable Me. Then it suddenly turned into I was going to ask him like, what if they made those surgeon simulator games?
Yeah.
What if it's like that,
God,
except
don't say it.
Instead of that, instead of that, it's you put a finger up a butthole to check for diseases.
Okay, that's not where I thought you were gonna go with it. Because we were talking about minions. I thought you were gonna do something along with a minion surgeon simulator.
No,
Sticking a finger up a butt is totally different from where I expected you to go. You said finger up a butt, and I was like, what part of Despicable Me was that from?
Hey,
Minion part.
Watching the Minions movie made me feel like I want to have a finger stuck up my butt. Connection, there we go.
Okay, well, good for you then.
That's a story for another time.
Leave your story about fingers up butts for later.
So anyways, yeah, okay, let's start.
Yeah, so how's your guys' week going? How's your week?
Incredibly unproductive, and I've been trying to get a job, but besides that, pretty good.
Dear God, I've had the opposite week. There is simply not enough hours in the day for me to do everything I need to get done. It is absurd. I've been working 10-hour days a week this week. It's been pretty insane.
Well, at least you're doing something instead of me just playing Silent Hill 2 for 5 hours straight and nothing else. And sometimes
trying to make music.
And sometimes and also trying to make music while I'm supposed to be trying to get a new job.
I mean, can you live stream Silent Hill 2? Could be doing stuff then.
I could, but I can't right now, so that means I'm doing jack shit, so yeah. I don't know.
Oh boy.
Alright, well before we get started here, there is a shout out I would like to give from for Brendan, one of the pairs of Tangled Beards Productions. And yes, he just said finger up my butt. Anyway, not Brendan, Luke. I was reading the comments. But anyway, yeah. So Brendan,
said it here now. Record it. Don't make it a meme. It's gonna be cringy. I'll be surprised if it becomes a fucking meme.
I'd love to be a meme.
So Brendan just uploaded a vlog. So that's really cool. I recommend you check it out. Link in the description down below so you can watch that. But with that said out of the way, let's jump right into movies. This has been a fairly slow week. Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot going on, but because of that, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have another Not for Families game. Well, not really, actually. We'll figure it out as we go. But let's just get on to the news. Yeah.
I can't actually be part of that, but let's just talk about the news.
Yeah.
Yeah, the news. The news as the news.
Alright, so
the news as the news.
Do you want to talk about the Marvel stuff, or you want to talk about the movies that came out?
Oh, hold on. Well, we're going to go through the agenda here. So, the first thing and the biggest thing was Baby Driver. Holy crap.
Yeah, boy.
I have a movie review of that coming out tomorrow on this channel, so make sure you check it out. Yeah.
Oh, shit, son. Also, do you know what's funny? Remember the Creative Co site that you sent me the link to?
Yeah, I should probably shout that out.
So I wrote an entire review for Baby Driver on there since I did one recently on my channel. And then I was like, all right, publish it. And then I got rid of that page, then went back to look at it. It's like, wait a minute, why isn't it here? And then I just realized I just put my cursor on publish and didn't actually click publish. And I made like a 5-paragraph review, and now it's fucking gone. And it's like, great, now that's not gonna happen again. Well, maybe I'll write it again, just I don't feel like doing it right now.
Yeah.
Because too busy with other things.
With that said, I guess I will shout out Creator Co, because I forgot about that. Yeah, we're back on Creator Co, formerly Movie Pilot. Movie Pilot is still a thing, but it's different how they've changed it. But yeah, we're on Creator Co, so that has... I went through a list of everything we need to put up there. It's insane. So... we'll talk about it later, but make sure you check out Creator Co the Just For You Studios page, because we have a lot of stuff that's going to be up there, so don't miss out on that.
There's stuff even right now you should check out, like a review of Transformers Civ that may or may not be polarizing to some. I'm not sure. We'll see. Anyways.
Yeah, so back on track to Baby Driver, though. Gosh, that film was beautiful.
That was a fucking magnificent little film. Like, they synced up all the scenes to the music that they chose for each scene, and it was so good.
Yeah, the timing so just watching it, I was just going, oh my god, the editing, fantastic. Cinematography, fantastic. Editing. Sound design, production design was even phenomenal. If you go to that laundry scene, holy crap.
Oh yeah, with like the choice of like the stuff that they put into laundry.
Insane.
They even synced up like the movement of the laundry during that scene to the music. It's like, god damn it.
It's every so beautiful. So review coming out tomorrow for that, and then Luke, you had it in your This Week in Film, so check that video out as well, you guys.
Yes, it might be my favorite film of the year.
In all honesty,
good movie.
I wasn't expecting it to be mine, but it is pretty high up on that list right now. It is another thing that I thought was amazing. This film has to have the most likable protagonist I have seen in a film in a long time.
Oh yeah, I have to say so as well. Like, he didn't have like a whole lot of lines, but he was still like, he had like a lot of charisma and, you know, like expression throughout many of the scenes.
And the fact that
also just like,
yeah, go ahead.
I also just like the scenes where he's kind of just like walking around town, listening to music and just like chilling out. That was cool.
Yeah, and the fact that he doesn't have a lot of lines, I think, really plays to his character, and it makes his character more unique.
Yeah, and also just like one thing, I was kind of glad that, like, let me just say that the director of this film has done like a lot of comedy stuff, and I was kind of worried that since like this was like more action based than really comedy, that it worked as well as it did. Like, goddamn, I made a joke to a friend, it's like some of the sequences in this movie, some of the action sequences are more like adrenaline fueled than like fucking the entire runtime of Mad Max Fury Road.
In all honesty, the action was crazy.
Yeah,
that was probably the biggest surprise for me, was that when you have movies from Marvel and DC coming out this year, like Wonder Woman, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Logan, some of the best action I've seen all year came out of an Edgar Wright movie.
Yeah, and had like a budget of like a fraction of those films.
Yeah, that's insane to me.
Yeah.
And the car scenes, holy crap.
God damn, those car scenes are so cool.
So,
like, just the first one, even.
I was a little worried when watching the trailer that I'd be like, okay, some of the car stuff is ridiculous. But when you're watching the movie, you go, nope, I believe it. 100% believe it. All that just happened. That just happened.
Like, a good comparison to, like, something that's, like, obviously kind of fake was, like, with Fast and Furious. Like, remember in some of the trailers where they have, like, 15 cars, like, flying out of, like, a parking lot all at once? That's kind of, like, a good example of, like, okay, yeah, no, that's not happening. But, like, many of the scenes in this are still, like, grounded in a sense of reality that kind of worked still. And it felt better because of that.
Yeah, and, like,
real good.
Another thing I thought about when watching it, just like you see Fast and the Furious and Transformers, where all the cars are these very exotic-looking cars. And then a lot of the vehicles, though, that Baby drives in this movie are cars that you can see out on the road.
Yeah, it's like their actual...
When he was driving the sedan, the truck, the freaking, the Camry or whatever that had the backup camera. Like, it's all practical stuff.
Camera. Yeah, it's like all stuff that is, like, for real.
It's like GTA. You could find that on the street, and it could totally do that.
And you could steal it.
Yeah, it's like, that was insane.
Yeah. Someone described this to me as like a musical version of a GTA film.
and that is like, pretty accurate.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Because there's even some characters that are pretty over the top in a way, but still good though. Like,
yeah,
they kind of remind me of that. Like, Jamie Foxx was a bit over the top in this movie, but he was great though.
Granted, that was his character. I mean, look at his name. That should tell you how over the top he is. But. Yeah, and honestly, here's something I didn't talk about in my review because I felt I would be kind of ranting on too long if I did. But Kevin Spacey, after watching the movie, thinking about it, I was like, who else could play that role as well as Kevin Spacey? I couldn't imagine. Like, the only person who came to my mind was probably Bryan Cranston, but the thing with that is, if Bryan Cranston did that role, it would be way more menacing, which that's not how Kevin Spacey did it. He did it as more that calm, collective, almost always one step ahead type role.
Yeah.
His face is a facade.
Oh, yeah. The only person I could think of that could probably play that character, like, probably, like, I feel like Kevin Spacey was the perfect choice, but someone who could play something kind of like that was, like, maybe J.K. Simmons. But, like,
that is
his
true.
is more, like, aggressive, though, whereas Kevin Spacey was more, like, calm and collected and got shit done. It's
that same thing as Bryan Cranston, I feel, if J.K. Simmons did it, especially if you watch Whiplash and then watch this one. I feel like if J.K. did it, it would definitely be a little more intense. With that said, if it was J.K. Simmons who played Doc, I would constantly be on the edge of my seat waiting for him to snap. Like, he'd be that calm and collective character until, on the flick of a dime, he breaks a fool's neck. That would be J.K. Simmons' version of the character.
Yeah, he would just, like, lose his mind or something like that, but, yeah, that'd be...
Yeah, but that's not Doc, which is the craziest thing. Doc he's that criminal, but he's, before anything else, a businessman, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, like, they played him as a kind of a character who's, like, what he does is crime, but he's still kind of, like, professional about it. But yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah, if you have not seen Baby Driver, go check it out, as well as check out my review coming out tomorrow, and Luke's video from This Week in Film.
Yeah. Also, I forgot what was the other movies that we have besides
Despicable Me 3.
Yay!
More Minions.
More Minions, yeah. I thought you said more Mormons there for a second. It's like, ooh, that's a bit, okay. But anyways,
yeah, you don't remember the Mormons from the Despicable Me franchise?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was great. Those are my...
Actually, though, speaking of Mormons, I'm kind of weirded out by the fact that Trey Parker was in this film.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played the villain.
Yeah, don't ruin it.
Oh, okay.
No, it says in the trailer.
Yeah. Don't spoil Despicable Me, okay? I want to know which minions live or die when I go see the movie for myself, okay?
I haven't seen it. Don't be assholes.
The incredibly deep and complicated lore of the Despicable Me universe mythology.
I want to experience the emotional roller coaster while I'm in the theater.
Gru is a metaphor for Icarus.
I want to. Stop.
I want to hear Kevin say banana and just lose my mind while I'm in the theater. I want to lose myself when I hear Beedo, 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 Beedo.
I feel like that. You know that. Has anyone here heard of a movie called A Clockwork Orange before?
Have I? Yes.
Do you remember the movie theater scene in that movie?
Yes.
I actually, when Minions came out, I had, like, one of my younger, like, family members, like my niece, was like, I want to go see it, and I was like, okay. And then, like, halfway through the movie, that's kind of how I felt, just hearing every single kid in the movie laugh at Banana every time. And I was like, stop it! I beg you! I couldn't take the shit anymore.
I love your segue from Clockwork Orange to Despicable Me. Hey, remember that movie theater scene in Clockwork Orange? Okay, well now it's Despicable Me.
Me watching Despicable Me, but sorry. That's just how I... Yeah, that's really the only thing I have to say about Despicable Me, because I honestly don't really know about the new film, besides the fact that Trey Parker's in it. And that's all I really need to know at this point, because I don't really plan on watching it anytime soon. But, yeah. Yeah,
I'm probably the same way. So, Luke, I'm going to turn it over to you here. You got a Netflix thing to talk about.
Oh, yes. This is a movie I really want to talk about, because it's a Netflix exclusive film. But, in all honesty, I would say it's on par with, like, like films that have been coming out recently. The movie's called Okja. It's kind of a strange film. The only thing you could really describe it as is like a Miyazaki film that gets really fucked up by the end. and I'll tell you kind of the plot. Basically, it's about, this is kind of, I guess, somewhat of like a future where this meat producing company decides to genetically modify this kind of creature hybrid, which was like a pig and a hippo together, and they're using it for like, they say we're going to create this to, you know, help feed millions of people around the world, and they start making like a big marketing gimmick behind it, which is they send one of these super pigs, as they call it, to like a farm in every part of the world, and whoever has the best one will be like, oh, paid like so much money. And the one that has like the biggest one is in South Korea, where this girl who's taking care of it realizes that they're going to take it away after a while, and so she pretty much goes on like a heist mission to get it back.
Oh, that sounds kind of cool.
And yeah, it's really cool. It's very weird though in some aspects, but I think it's really fun, but it'll make you very sad by the end and kind of happy.
I do kind of expect that.
Yeah. Like,
especially when you bring up the premise, like, I feel like, again, I'm making an assumption here, it doesn't have the happiest of endings.
Not necessarily, but it still has happy enough ending by the end of it all. It's weird though, like, it kind of looks like something like I said, like a Studio Ghibli or Miyazaki film but in live action, but it's still like very adult in many aspects, because like they say the F word a lot, and yeah, it gets kind of fucked up by the end. Again, I won't say how, but it's weird. Also, Jake Gyllenhaal is in it, and that's most of the time the only thing I need to hear before I see a movie.
Really?
Yeah, and he's great, because he's like this person, like, who is that guy that was like the Australian man who did those TV shows about like doing stuff with crazy animals?
Oh, are you talking about the Crocodile Hunter? Steve Irwin?
Yeah, imagine like a really doofy crocodile hunter type character who had to come to South Korea to like film a video about this animal to bring it back before they bring it back to America.
Okay, that sounds pretty awesome.
Pretty much.
That sounds pretty awesome.
It's pretty good. I'd highly recommend it, and I hope people see it, because honestly, they had like a really big budget for this film. Like, I think it was like 50 million.
The CGI looks surprisingly good, from what I've seen.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty neat. But yeah, everybody should go see it. It's really nice and sweet and has a cool message, and doesn't, for the most part, doesn't feel like shoved into your face. So go see it.
Netflix has been knocking it out of the park recently with all their Netflix originals. Like, oh my gosh, because they're trying to get to a point, and I think it's like a 5-year or 10-year plan or something, to where like 80 or 90% of all the content on Netflix is Netflix originals. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind that with how good they've been recently.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would still prefer like some already existing movies, but like still a good amount of Netflix original stuff is cool by me. And
what I hope though is that their 80% doesn't mean they're taking away from existing shows on Netflix, but just adding an insane amount of originals.
Oh yeah, yeah. And to be honest, a good amount like of the original stuff so far is pretty good. Like, BoJack Horseman's best animated show right now. Go check it out. That's all I have to say. Bye.
Episode for Family is a good one too.
Oh, and just all their comedy specials as well. Oh my god, that's the main thing I've been watching. Just
like the Louis C.K.
Louis C.K. love his. Chrissy Della put out one a little while ago, and I just love him as a person because if you've watched Undateable, in real life he is his character on Undateable. And secondly, with that said, this probably isn't a good thing for me, but who he is on the outside, like the things that he says to people, is exactly how I am on the inside. Like, watching it, I'm like, that's 100% me. The only thing is I have a better filter than him.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, but it's hilarious. Love Netflix.
I'm trying to think of other shows on Netflix that I've seen a lot of, actually. But yeah, they've been producing a lot of great stuff, and honestly, some of their films have becoming like pretty much blockbuster material at this point. Like, I'd say Okja is kind of like the closest they've gotten to that.
Yeah, and like Amazon, they got to the Oscars last year
Oh,
for
yeah.
a film. So like,
Oh yeah, they won some fucking gold there with Manchester by the Sea.
yeah. So I mean, like in all honesty, if Netflix can start doing stuff like that, HBO, Amazon, could you imagine how that will change Hollywood?
Oh god, I feel like that would change it for the better, honestly.
Yes, because then you don't need the big studios with all the money to make movies. Like, it can be a much more. It can be less about that financial benefit of having that big name like Universal Studios or Paramount, who has to show it to movie theaters. You have to spend billions of dollars and that kind of stuff when you could spend only, I say only, it's still an insane amount, 30 to 50 million, and put out a show that's just available online and still get that kind of recognition.
By the way, actually, that reminded me of something I wanted to mention about this movie, because you just reminded me that there was like a massive controversy behind this movie. So before it came out on Netflix, it was being shown around at on some major film festivals like Cannes and all that stuff. But when it was showed at like, I think it was like Cannes or whatever, there's this thing called like the Palme d'Or or whatever, which is basically the best picture of the film festival. There was a juror there who said that Netflix movies shouldn't be allowed to win the Palme d'Or since they aren't real movies.
Oh, you talked about this. I remember.
And then that actually kind of spread to a number of movie theaters, especially in South Korea, unfortunately, because that's where the director's homeland is. And it kind of spread like wildfire, and there's a major amount of like movie theaters that just won't show the movie because of that for some reason. It's like, that makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? It's like, there's people who want to see it. It's obvious by the amount of people that are already seeing it on Netflix. And you're just like, no, we're not showing it because it's not a real movie.
Which, yeah, that is just stupid as a whole.
Yeah, it's just, and maybe I'm like paraphrasing, but like I looked up an article about that, and that's pretty much kind of in a nutshell equivalent of what he said. But yeah, now that just kind of spread like wildfires. Like, nope, we're not showing it. It's not a real movie. Nope, nope.
I mean, is it the budget it had, or
I think it was more just the fact that it was being released on a platform that does not show in like movie theaters mainly, and is more just like online on your computer, phone kind of thing, which
oh my gosh,
I kind of understand, but is like still, it's still technically a movie. So
could you imagine a movie theater that just had accounts to HBO, Netflix, Hulu, and just played different movies and shows, and basically you would just pay like 50 cents even, because it's just part of that subscription fee to each plan, to watch, like, I want to watch all of season 1 of Stranger Things. Hey, the movie theater's showing it at 3. Let's just go and stay there for a while. Like, could you imagine that?
If they did that, though, it would be kind of weird, though, because, like, okay, we're going to watch the whole season of a series. Like, how long is the showtime going to be, like, 8 hours? It's like, okay, I've got a full day.
Yeah, but even like Netflix original movies and stuff, like, could you imagine? They could not do that, but just imagine. That idea to me just seems like, could you imagine how crazy something like that would be, especially to spite the people who say this isn't a real movie?
Yeah, to be honest, though, like, this movie is much better made than most actual movies coming out, I have to say. So, yeah, suck it.
Yeah, so Raphael, you had some things you wanted to talk about, correct?
What?
Were there some things that you wanted to talk about, or no? I'm trying to remember.
Oh yeah, mostly Marvel news right now. That some pictures were leaked on like Infinity Wars and Deadpool.
Yeah, because Deadpool started production, I believe, last week. Still miss Tim Miller. Yep, and then
I forgot about that.
Like some of the pictures, there's Ryan Reynolds like giving a handshake to the stunt double that's being Deadpool, like jumping into a taxi or something. I don't know, like just diving in there. So there's that.
Yeah.
Another thing is let's see what else.
Yeah, I personally try and stay away from leaks and such, just cause like trailers alone spoil too much sometimes. I don't want leaks on top of that.
Spider-Man. Sorry, I coughed.
Yeah, you're good. Allergy season. Whew, it's bad.
Yeah, it's a... too many trailer season right now, and I'm starting to get the bit of the hiccups.
Boy, we ain't even at Comic-Con yet, all right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be crazy.
Oh, God.
Anyways, that's basically it right now. Also, we got to see some Iron Man, like, you know, the Mark 725,000.
Yeah.
153.
Yeah, like, no joke. It's
like
just basically like Robert Downey Jr. wearing the top side of his armor, and that's it. It looks pretty cool, actually. It kind of reminds me of the comics and all that.
Yeah. Can we
It's
take...
kinda cool, mostly how you get, like... What?
I was gonna say, when you're done with this, can we take a second to then talk about how shitty Iron Man 3 was?
Oh, yeah.
But
that made me sad.
go ahead and finish that, because I want to talk about it, because you just reminded me of some things from that movie.
What have I done?
So, are you good, Raphael?
It's gonna end up me not talking.
Okay, so then, going back to Iron Man 3, the piece of crap that movie was. So, first off...
Do you notice the... Wait, sorry.
Go
Can
ahead.
I just say, it makes me so sad that movie was bad, considering the guy that they had to direct it, who was, by the way, the guy who directed The Nice Guys, which is one of the best films of its year, and he also made this in his most successful movie, unfortunately. Whatever.
Yeah. To be fair, he was dealing with a big property like Iron Man. So I get how, when you try and do your own style on a property as big as that, they don't always meld well, which I think was his problem. But can we also address how at the end of Iron Man 2, he had just gotten to the Iron Man suit Mark 7. The start of Iron Man 3, he had 49.
49.
He was at the suit, he was like...
yeah, I guess he was.
Because Pepper said, what is that, 10? He looked and he saw on the bottom of, like, his boot or whatever, it said, like, Mark 49.
Oh.
Like...
That's a lot.
Yeah, and then, at the end of that film, I hate Avengers 2 because of this. At the end of that film, you see him blow up all of his suits, and he's like, you know what? I'm done being Iron Man, gonna get my arc reactor uninstalled from my body, just like when you uninstall programs off your PC, basically. Only you have doctors for it here. And, meanwhile, you jump right into
Computer
Avengers
doctors.
2, and he has his suits again. It's like...
Continuity, what's that?
And I will say the only real leak I have seen from Infinity Wars is that they had pictures of Tony Stark walking around on set as Tony Stark, and he had his arc reactor back.
What the wait, what?
Ta-da!
Wait,
It was
how?
never gone after all. Ta-da!
And
God.
it's like...
These movies are starting to become very inconsistent.
It makes me feel like they realize how bad Iron Man 3 was and are just trying to retcon it. Like, that was all a dream. The real Mandarin still exists. It wasn't a white dude. Like, he didn't blow up all the suits. It was all a dream. He has them all. The arc reactor still has it. He's good. Like, there's all these little things that it's like, what?
Yeah, it's like, this never happened. Just pretend it never happened. It's like...
Wasn't that hell for him with the arc reactor and all that? I feel like that was kind of hell for him.
Yes, but that's part of the character. The character has that emotional stress, basically, because it's constantly a reminder of where he came from. And also, I wish Marvel took more risks, like Ant-Man, for instance.
Oh, yeah.
I would have loved to see a movie where we had asshole Ant-Man, like in the comics with Hank Pym.
You know what I also would have loved? Ant-Man directed by Edgar Wright.
Yep.
Thanks, Marvel.
This Baby Driver just reminded me of what we could have had with Ant-Man. But anyway...
we could have had, like, one of the best superhero movies ever, probably.
Yeah.
But then again, also, there's, like, his creative control problems with Marvel, so who knows, maybe it wouldn't have been, but who knows?
Yeah, I think of it as it probably would have been so removed from all of Marvel that Marvel would feel like it couldn't exist in that universe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, Edgar Wright, from what I've read, he wanted it to be its own thing. Like, that scene with Falcon at the Avengers base never would have been in an Edgar Wright Ant-Man movie. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Marvel, they wanted to promote the other films through Ant-Man and make sure it was still part of that connective tissue.
Yeah, and still kind of, like, fit within like the rest of the universe kind of thing by like, hey, reference to a thing in other movie.
I mean,
so on.
This is gonna sound weird, but could you imagine if Baby Driver was in the MCU? Like, how would Marvel even try and connect that?
Maybe he's like, maybe there's superheroes who don't have good transportation, so he's like, I'm your driver.
Because
it's not a crime.
No, an Uber.
He gets paid for it, and it's not technically a crime. So maybe this is like his Oh wait,
part
actually,
of the
that spoils it.
But
I was gonna say like
for heroes, it's called
yeah.
Uber.
But like, if you get what I'm saying, though, I feel like Marvel wanted it to be more connected than Edgar Wright, so that was where a lot of the creative difference came from.
Yeah, it was kind of just like, I want to be its own thing, and Marvel's like, no, we want it to be like have some connection to upcoming movies and all the such, and it was like, fuck that, I'm out.
Yeah. But, and then like this, I kind of get why it wasn't in there. I feel like the struggles that we've seen Iron Man have been very contrived. Cause like, I would have liked to see that more alcoholic side that you see in the comics, where I want to see more human struggles as opposed to what we got in Iron Man 3 was his PTSD of, I just saw aliens. And that was the main conflict of 3. Which I feel
PTSD because alien.
I get where it's coming from, and I'm glad they could have easily have just said, yeah, no, he's fine after that. I'm glad they gave it some more lasting effect on him. With that, it wasn't done well, and by the next movie, he was totally fine. Even though I don't remember that story ever having a good resolution.
Did they even have a resolution for his PTSD in that film?
I would like to see him have more human struggles, which I'm hoping is what Spider-Man does for him.
To be honest, yeah, it's like, more recently, it seems like Tony Stark has just been kind of the guy who fucks everything up, honestly, in most of the scenarios. Like, like think about it, like, Age of Ultron, he invented Ultron, and then, like, he was like, no, this is good, and then Ultron became the villain.
Again, I get why they had him do it. I would have liked for it to be more comic accurate and have Ant-Man invent Ultron, because they had just entered him into the MCU at that point. I get, though, why Iron Man had to do it, because Iron Man was the established builder, I guess. It would have been weird if they're like, hey, this guy who just showed up, he's going to create a new supervillain. Like, I do kind of get that, but still, I don't know. There's just a lot of little issues I have with the MCU at this point, because with every movie, it does kind of bring this toll with how connected everything is, and it's what? More than 14 movies in the MCU now. Are they at 17, 15? It's insane now. I lost count after 12, I think. But, like, they have so many films in that universe to where I feel like you start losing track of every little thing. I want to go through, and could you imagine if we binge-watched the beginning of the MCU to the end? How many little details we would find, like, oh, well, they really set that up to be a big conflict, but it kind of just... They kind of forgot about it, because it's been so many years.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're going to set that up to something, and then just like, oh, wait, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah, or in this one movie, this character has this huge inner conflict that never gets resolved, but by the next movie is completely forgotten about. Like, that I feel like there'd be a lot of.
Yeah, it's kind of just like let's just do it for this movie, but not really kind of use it later on, because why not?
And things like the quick disappearance of Jane and Pepper Potts, like characters who just kind of leave for no reason, and it's very unexplained.
Much,
but I mean, to be fair,
just the fact that, and also just like the fact of how many scenarios within the few films you could just wonder, like, where the fuck were the Avengers when this was going on?
Exactly, and things like
remember
that.
When they almost nuked Shield in like a way and like almost killed like millions of people, and it was just like Captain America's the only one.
That was a great time, dude. That was a great time. They almost tried to nuke everything.
Yeah,
that was
like
great, man.
And it was just like Captain America was like the only one there. It's like, well, I guess I gotta deal with this myself. God damn it.
And then Winter Soldier, like, oh my god, the one I
No, that's the one I was talking about. It's like, where the fuck were they during Winter Soldier? And then just like, nope, they're doing other things.
And
I just like to, I just like to think like someone make an edit where it's like during like this intense scene, it's like, oh my god, there's gonna be millions of people gonna die. It just cuts to Tony Stark's house and he's just like drinking martinis or whatever, just like, computer, play nice music.
That sucks.
yeah,
And like.
Mhm.
He's just like flipping through channels, and like one of them is a news station that says like, currently there is the possibility of an entire city being blown up. The only one to help them is currently Captain America. Where are the Avengers now? Change channel. It's like, fuck it.
And in my opinion, there are so many easy ways to fix that with the huge universe they have created. Because, like, again, my biggest problem with Age of Ultron is they set so many good things up in the other films. To where, if you notice, in all of Wave 2, the films end with all the superheroes basically stop being superheroes. Iron Man, he destroys all of his suits. Thor, he hangs up the cape to live his life with Jane. Captain America, S.H.I.E.L.D. is no more, and Captain America is the only person around to hunt down Hydra. Like, all these things that just kind of would have been great setups for Age of Ultron. What's the beginning of Age of Ultron? Oh yeah, the Avengers are reunited, and they're using S.H.I.E.L.D. information to hunt down Hydra. Iron Man has all of his suits back. Thor is being Thor again. Like, what?
Yeah, it's like, it's almost like these series of movies have become like episodic almost.
Because imagine, I'm just thinking, imagine, it would be a perfect excuse then if, say, something was going on in Ant-Man, but the Avengers weren't there because Iron Man quit being Iron Man, Thor quit being Thor. Then in Age of Ultron is them being, wow, we actually really need to come back together because stuff has gone downhill while we've been gone. Or even Wave 3, if characters
didn't do that, it was like, oh, okay, cool.
Or if in Wave 3, characters did have these inner conflicts, like Iron Man had an alcohol problem, so maybe he was at this is gonna be a weird one, an AA meeting, or he was drinking his sorrows away or something while something else was going on. Like, I'm just imagining
like the world's gonna end. He's like, I gotta go. It's like, we know you have to go. Don't you want to tell us about your problem? Get connected to everybody. It's like, you can get connected to us more than you can with them. It's like, 5 million people are going to die.
So
what the fuck does I have to go not mean to you?
I just feel MCU, for as much as they try and push these overarching storylines, tend to forget plot points.
Oh god, yeah, it does kind of seem like a specialty. Like, remember in Age of Ultron? Well, actually, never mind. Maybe they'll actually touch on this in the next Thor movie, but I was going to say the part with Thor in Age of Ultron where he has like that weird vision. He's like, I have to go now.
So the two things with that is yes, 100% a setup for Thor Ragnarok, because he leaves Age of Ultron to go to figure out what the dreams mean, which is the whole point of Ragnarok. It's him basically chasing those dreams, which is when he meets Hela, the person who's basically causing them. But the other reason,
her name is Hela?
Yeah, because she's a Norse god who's basically the equivalent to Hades and rules the Norse hell, basically, which is what Ragnarok is. Ragnarok is the Norse version of hell.
I'm sorry if I kind of laughed there, but it was just like, I thought you were saying, I didn't realize it's like Hela, like, oh, it's like the ruler of hell. I just heard Hela, like the ironic, like. And I was like, God damn it.
She's
like,
a hella cool villain.
Why?
But yeah, and in addition, they did cut out a lot in that movie, because that movie was going to be like 3 hours long or something stupid, and a lot of what they cut out were the scenes explaining those visions. So it did seem very random in the movie, because they cut out a lot of that story.
I guess it's more just like the fact that like they had that and it's been 2 years now. It's like, okay, now we're actually finally getting to that.
And that's the big problem here with the MCU. Like, and after 2 years, most of the time they forget things like that. Like, oh yeah, we did say that in the movie and we were going to address it. But then we realized we could use this comic book story instead, and they totally moved that away. Like,
yeah. But yeah, it's just like, it just felt weird. It's like, I almost kind of forgot about the fact that Thor was even in these movies after Age of Ultron. It was like, oh yeah, he's still around. It was like, but what is he even doing? It was like, oh yeah, he's doing that. Okay, cool.
And the only thing we have seen him do since Age of Ultron was talk to Doctor Strange in an end credit scene.
Oh yeah, that was the only thing.
So
in that case, did he just come to Earth and it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna talk to Doctor Strange for a little bit back?
Mm-hmm. I will say, there is a really neat theory going around. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Thanos Infinity Stone theory. That Thanos, his name is really the, basically, what's the word I'm looking for? Acronym, that's it. Acronym for where all the Infinity Stones are hiding. So, like, I'm trying to remember all of them. But, like, N is necklace, the one we see in Doctor Strange, the Agamotto thing that gives him his time travel, because that's the time gem.
Yeah.
N is the nether, or not nether, the whatever it's called that we saw in Thor 2, the most forgettable Marvel movie. But, like, all of them, if you track it down, can be an acronym for something else. T, Tesseract, the blue cube thing that we saw in Avengers.
Yeah.
So, the only one I don't think we've heard is H, which you see Hela in the Thor trailer break Thor's hammer. And thinking about it, how that hammer is so powerful, and the fact that it can judge who is worthy, many people are speculating that she breaks it and inside is the last gem. And that's when you see the transformation. Because at the beginning, during that part of the trailer, Hela is very kind of rugged and her clothes are all torn, her hair is all down, she looks like she just came out of the sewer basically. Then the next scene we see her in, she has all this armor and an army behind her and is about to take over Thor's kingdom basically, or Odin's kingdom. Asgard, thank you, I couldn't remember the name. Asgard. So wouldn't it make sense?
Asgard.
So wouldn't it make sense that she'd get that transformation after wielding an Infinity Stone?
I guess that's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And with how powerful Thor's hammer is, it would make sense that it got its power from an Infinity Stone. And here's kind of the thing that nails the coffin for me. Thor can use the wield the hammer. He's a god, which would make sense because people who can wield the Infinity Stones have to have that kind of power. Like we saw Peter Quill in Guardians, he was part god. And also, who else is the only other person we've really seen wield that hammer?
Vision?
Yes, who has an Infinity Stone in him.
Oh shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
So wouldn't that be crazy setup for the hammer being an Infinity Stone?
That'd actually be pretty cool. That'd be cool if when it came out, it was like, oh yeah, destroy the hammer and there's a stone inside. It's like, ooh, that's kind of like a setup for Infinity War, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which they announced the villains in that.
Strange, he has an Infinity Stone, so.
Yeah, he has the necklace one, the Agamotto stone or whatever it's called.
Well, still, Vision has it on his forehead.
Yep.
Peter Quill is a god.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
as well.
he's technically not any. Well, nah, I can't say that. Yeah, spoiler. Sorry. Anyway, so where are they going with that? I'm trying to remember. So yeah. So they did announce the villains.
Kid hold the hammer.
But anyway, like I was saying, they did announce the villains for Infinity War. I forgot. I don't think we ever talked about that, and I'm trying to remember who they are. I think they were some of the villains in the original Infinity War story arcs, though. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Well, that's cool.
They haven't announced all of them, which I'm really hoping.
Adam?
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
It was all new characters. So I'm guessing the ones who they've already put in movies they're keeping secret.
Oh, okay. By the way, I'm kind of
there. I want Stan Lee to hold the gauntlet. I want that to happen.
I mean, he is a watcher.
Stan Lee's the real villain in the end. Maybe it's like the villain of Stan Lee at the end is like, what is his superpower? Is the fact that he can turn into different copies of himself with different personalities.
Here we go. So here are the names of the villains I'm gonna do. So it's the Black Order. that are the villains. So you have Black Dwarf,
Ooh.
you have the Ebony Maw, Supergiant, and Proxima Midnight. And those are basically Thanos' minions who you'll see in the film.
Cool.
But they're actually his more prominent minions from the comics, which is pretty cool. I don't know much about them, but their look is very familiar. So
Cool.
I recognize them as to where, like, oh, that's right, they are part of Marvel. I forgot. Know who we haven't seen in Marvel, though, yet? That's a huge character that I'm very surprised we haven't seen.
Who?
MODOK.
Silver Surfer?
Silver Surfer's owned by Fox still, I believe. But with MODOK, they
More to the story, I think.
kind of...
Oh.
Who?
Isn't he important to the story of Infinity Wars, or am I thinking of someone else?
Who are you thinking of, MODOK or...
I don't know. Like, he's important to the. I think I'm still thinking about Adam. Yeah.
Oh, I'm not entirely sure. Oh yeah, Adam. Yes, he is. But the director did say Adam will not appear until Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So they set him up, but they're not putting him in his most prominent comic book storyline, which is Infinity War. Because he's basically the...
Okay.
Thanos is his yin and yang. So I thought when they set it up, that meant Adam was going to be in Infinity War. But no, apparently he won't be in the MCU until Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
That's
Which-
fine. Yeah, I can wait for that.
Yeah, so it is kind of a
By the way-
bummer, since, like,
Yeah.
that means they're doing the same thing they did to Ant-Man. Their most prominent thing in the comic books is not gonna happen.
Yeah,
So, like-
it's like the most like well-known thing is kind of like whatever.
Yeah, like Ant-Man, the creator of Ultron. Yeah, he's not gonna create Ultron, though. Adam, the one of the only people who could fight Thanos and win. He's not going to be in the Thanos movies. Like,
Okay, cool. Yeah.
What?
Let's.
Well, how the fuck is that gonna happen then?
yeah, so that does kind of
let's
ignore me,
take
but
like, you know,
they did
fight
technically,
Thanos and see what happens.
yeah, they did kind of set up for MODOK, though. I will say that, because I believe Adam does have a part in creating MODOK, so in the future we might see him. I would be happy if he was a Wave 4 villain. Because, like, I'm not a big MODOK fan, but even I have to acknowledge that he's like in the top 5 biggest Marvel villains, and they haven't addressed him once.
Yeah, it's like he hasn't come up even
Yeah.
yet. It's been like many movies already in.
Yeah, and there is a chance Fox owns him. I am not entirely sure. I'm pretty sure Marvel owns him, but Fox might,
Boo.
because Doctor Doom is
Good
probably
job, Fox.
the
Good
next
job.
biggest Marvel villain who Fox still owns. So it's like,
Oh yeah.
the biggest Marvel villains Marvel can't use, like Galactus, Doctor Doom. I hope they have MODOK, but there's a chance they don't have MODOK. Magneto is still Fox. Like, it's like, come on.
Really?
Hmm?
Oh yeah,
you
Magneto is
serious?
Fox.
Yes,
Yeah, because
X-Men.
of
Oh, wait.
X-Men.
X-Men is Fox.
Right. Right.
Yeah. By the
So-
way, there's something I'm kind of wondering about Infinity War, which is like, what are they gonna do with like all these characters like Captain America and all the rest? Like once that's over, because I don't know why it kind of feels like Infinity War will be like a very kind of conclusive kind of thing for at
Well,
least
yeah.
some characters.
Because that was all they initially planned for, was Infinity War would kind of be the end, because right now, Chris Evans, his contract only lasts till the end of Infinity War. After that, he's done. He hasn't signed on to do any more Marvel movies. So a lot of the original cast of the Avengers movie, Infinity Wars will be their debut, their final time playing that
their
character.
final outing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I kind of feel like that's kind of a good point to end then, because it's been a good run, but now it's time for like some new stuff in the Marvel
Mhm.
films. I'm assuming.
with that
like-
said, I'm hoping they
But I
kill
have to-
off a crap ton of characters.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I'm
Just
worried,
be like,
though.
you want characters to be killed off?
Mhm.
Like kills off the entire like main characters.
Exactly.
Jesus.
Because, like, in all honesty, Civil War, a movie that has war in the
Oh.
title, killed off no one. Not even the villain in that movie died.
Oh yeah, he didn't
Uh,
even die, and he was just like
thanks-
a fucking Randy.
Nick,
So, like,
he didn't do much.
yeah, I'm like,
thanks.
What? You're cutting out a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
You're still cutting out.
I heard yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, so like, cause I'm afraid after seeing that movie, this being the second movie that has
Well, dude-
war in the title, they'll still be afraid to
Yeah.
kill people. So that's kind of where my fear is.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried about that too. But I feel like since this is kind of like this is when the contract ends for many of the actors, they'll be like,
Mhm.
you know what, fuck it, let's do this. Let's go balls out crazy with this last one and kill off a lot
Wait,
of
what about
characters. Oh, yeah, Captain
I'm
Marvel.
trying to remember. I don't know if she's going to appear in Avengers 3 or if her solo movie is going to be the first one. I don't remember. I know she's going to be prominent in Avengers 4, but I don't know where her first appearance is going to be. So, that's still up in the air a little bit, but yeah.
We will see in the future,
Mhm.
and by future I mean maybe like a year.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Whew, we got a lot of crazy stuff, though, guys. I'm just going to say it right now. This month is going to be insane for us here. We're going to be real busy
Oh, yeah.
behind the scenes doing various things. So, yeah, I'm trying to think because I'll talk with you guys after this podcast. But
Yeah.
it's going to be crazy. So I hope that you guys enjoy. You're going to be seeing a lot of different things going on. So,
This is gonna be a lot.
yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that's probably where we're going to end it. Unfortunately, we could not get to another, family game night, but we're going to be doing some pre-recorded podcasts soon. So, with that,
Yeah.
hopefully, we might just make one of
Sweet.
those a Not For Families game night.
Yeah. Hopefully. And yeah. I guess anything we should leave off end off on like a high note, like a thing to say. Okay, then
I'll take
fine,
that as a
fine.
no. I'll take it
Okay.
as, yeah, we're good. Alrighty, then.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Yeah. So, with that said,
Okay, actually no, I got a good
ooh,
way to end this off.
alrighty.
Iron Man threw his garbage. The end.
And thank you guys
And
for
on that
watching.
note-
Please like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with all of your friends. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Check out tomorrow's review of Baby Driver. And, yeah.
You should.
we'll see you guys on the next one.
Also check out that vlog. So
Yeah.
last thing you talked about.
Yes, check out
Anyways.
Brendan's vlog. Link in the description down
Like and
below.
subscribe.
Yep. Go check them out.
Subscribe.
So with that said, thank you guys for watching. And we will see you guys on the next one. Stay classy. Later. Woo! Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. Before we end this off, something I forgot. I just realized I also didn't talk about comments at all. So let me just go over that quickly. A lot of what you guys were saying I didn't want to talk about. But we got Red Chaos saying hi. When is Transcrafters episode 7 is currently in production right now. Bring back Transcraft. Yep, it's coming back. Don't worry. I don't need to bring it back. It's coming back, alright? Anyway. Blah, blah, blah. Think TF5 is like Fast and Furious 8 are the same. Their leader betrayed. Yeah, we've also seen a lot of that recently. Fast and the Furious and Transformers 5, they're only two of the culprits. If you look, there's a bunch of different movies and things that have started doing that this year. It's like this year. It's a year like, hey, that one character who you used to love betrays his team. What now? Come see our movie. The Iron Arlo, love your vids. Thank you, much appreciated. And Ian, hi, saying hello to you as well. So, anyway, with that said, yeah, thank you guys for watching. Check out all the stuff said to check out earlier. Sound like a broken record, just on repeat. And See you guys on the next one. Later. Woo.